Throughout the Aeneid, Aeneas takes on many different titles as he wages violent war against the Latins in the second half of the epic. He is called many different things by many different people. At the start of his journey, Aeneas is a son, subject to the commands of Anchises. However, as his journey progresses and he reaches Italy, he turns into a leader, ultimately leading his troops to victory over the Latins. Aeneas also becomes a warrior, eventually slaying Turnus in a fit of impulsive rage. Aeneas is also a lover, opting to do anything to capture Lavinia's heart and steal her from Turnus. However, perhaps the most revered facade that Aeneas obtains as he grows throughout the epic is the title of hero. In the second half of the epic, Aeneas heroically defeats the Latins. Against all odds, Aeneas recruits the Arcadians and Etruscans, and goes on to eventually kill Turnus himself. Because of all of this that he has done, at the conclusion of the epic, Aeneas is undoubtedly a hero to his people. We've been reading the Aeneid for the entire year, and we're finally finished. But 12 translations and 24 quizzes later, how well do we really understand the epic? Let's take a look at the main hero of the epic, Aeneas himself. As we discussed before, Aeneas really wasn't the hero the Trojans needed in the first 6 books of the epic. Aeneas would constantly break down and cry, and his father Anchises would often take charge himself. From Book 7 to Book 12, we finally see Aeneas as a hero. But before we get into that, we have to take a look at the definition of a hero. The textbook definition of a hero is a person who is admired or idolized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. The definition of a hero during Roman times in ancient Greek and Roman literature, which of course includes the Aeneid, is: he is royal of birth, half mortal, half god. He must perform extraordinary feats. He is a noble character, which is close to perfectly ideal. And he is a suffering character, physically and mentally. The hero fights for honor. One definition of a hero leans toward the modern definition: a person who accomplishes noble or great feats for a good cause, especially for a cause that benefits others. Next, we must look at who declares someone a hero. Is it a popularity contest? Is someone only a hero to peoples whom actions benefit? A simple answer to these questions would be no. Heroes in time of ancient Rome were often regarded by heroes from many different perspectives, even opposing ones. Examples of this would be the warriors Camilla and Achilles. Both were powerful warriors and formidable enemies of the Trojans. However, the Trojans still feared these warriors and held them in high esteem. Therefore, it is pretty safe to say that judgments on who was deemed a hero was fairly unbiased. So in fact, Aeneas would be regarded as a hero from multiple perspectives.
So now that we have that out of the way, let's focus more specifically on Aeneas himself. We know that Aeneas is in fact a hero. He grows into a hero after the first 6 books of the epic, and at one point, Juno, queen of the gods, admits defeat to Aeneas. Once the Trojans reach Italy, Juno realizes that she can't stop them from founding New Troy. She can't change their fate. The best she can do now is simply delay the inevitable. This is actually an extremely significant part of the epic. Aeneas has just essentially defeated a powerful goddess. This is not something that any mortal can do. Aeneas is a true hero. However, this raises another question. Keeping in mind that our definition of a hero is a person who accomplishes noble or great feats for a good cause, especially for a cause that benefits others, would Aeneas still be considered a hero today? In our modern society, heroism is also associated with nonviolent deeds as well. People who wage nonviolent wars, or such as those involved in social reforms, are often revered as heroes, so clearly the focus on heroism has shifted. On the other hand, men and women of armed forces, or essentially warriors, are still regarded as heroes. There are many honors and medals that a person can receive for their service in the armed forces. Despite having a shift on the focus of heroism, war heroes still exist today and are rightfully viewed as heroes for their selfless and noble deeds in battle. So yes, Aeneas would still today be regarded as a hero. He went through a difficult journey in order to build a home for his people. His entire journey was selfless since he was following the will of the gods. Aeneas wasn't even doing this for personal gain. He was only able to rule for a few short years after his victory before dying of natural causes, leaving Ascanius to rule. Now that we've established that Aeneas is in fact a hero, another question comes to mind. Does Aeneas ever slip from the role of a hero? Aeneas is a demigod, so half mortal, half divine. Could this also mean that Aeneas is semi-barbaric? After the death of Pallas, Aeneas goes on a rampage and mercilessly kills anyone who isn't on his side for a short period of time. This clearly is the worst part of Aeneas. Aeneas becomes so consumed by grief for a short period of time. There also is a positive side to this. Aeneas' actions greatly boosted the morale of the Trojan army and their allies, giving them the will to carry on.
While Aeneas is in Italy, the gods play a major part in making him into a hero. In an effort to help Aeneas gain victory, Venus gives Aeneas divine weapons. However, if Aeneas didn't receive these weapons from Venus, would he still have defeated Turnus in a face-off? When Aeneas kills Turnus, he casts a spear which pierces Turnus' side. If Aeneas' spear, along with the rest of his weapons, hadn't been divine, would Turnus have killed Aeneas instead, and not have been the hero he is made to be by killing Turnus? In the beginning of the second half of the epic, Turnus is described as a larger-than-life character. It would logically make sense that if Aeneas hadn't had the divine weapons from Venus, Turnus would have defeated Aeneas because of his superior physical strength. Aeneas is considered a godlike war hero to his people. However, Aeneas recruits two major allies to help him in battle. Both the Etruscans and Arcadians play a major role in defeating the Latins. If Aeneas hadn't received the help he did from the Etruscans and Arcadians, would he have been considered a hero in war? The Trojans would not have been able to defeat the Latins single-handedly. Although the allies play a major role in helping Aeneas defeat the Latins, Aeneas was the person who recruited them in the first place, so in that respect, he can still be considered a hero.
Another instance when Aeneas could have shown his barbaric side would be when he kills Turnus. Aeneas and Turnus eventually agree to battle one-on-one in order to put an end to this war. Aeneas obviously is victorious, but right before he deals the final blow to kill Turnus, Turnus begins to beg for his life. Aeneas then shows mercy and begins to lower his weapon. He has decided to spare Turnus. Unfortunately for Turnus, he is still wearing the sword belt that he took from Pallas after killing him. Aeneas sees the sword belt and remembers his anger and grief at the death of Pallas, and the fact that Turnus didn't show Pallas any mercy himself. Aeneas, in this anger, kills Turnus, and the epic ends there. It can be argued that Aeneas showed a lack of mercy for slipping from the role of a hero. However, the fact that Aeneas actually considered sparing Turnus, the man that killed so many Trojans and their allies, including Pallas, showed nobility on Aeneas' part. Furthermore, the agreement for this one-on-one duel was a fight to the death in the first place, so Aeneas is under no obligation to spare Turnus. After everything Turnus has done, he didn't really deserve any mercy from Aeneas. Also, since Aeneas is a hero and essentially a good person, he most likely returned Turnus' body to his family and country for a proper burial, and to receive proper funeral rites. This is really important, especially for soldiers who fell in battle. Without proper funeral rites, they wouldn't be able to cross the River Styx.